This is the Wild and Fearless podcast. Join Bec Fox, renowned business leader, coach, and avid adventurer, and go inside the hearts and minds of ordinary women doing extraordinary things. Wild and Fearless, women inspiring legendary dreams.
Hi legends, welcome to an extraordinary Wild and Fearless podcast. Today we are very honoured and humbled to introduce to you Angela Wright, who has recently received an OAM for her recognition and acknowledging her absolute incredible journey through outdoor recreation pursuits and also her volunteerism. So sit back and be humbled and enjoy the ride with beautiful Angela. Angela Wright, welcome to Wild and Fearless. You are indeed one of the most amazing women who are inspiring legendary dreams. It's an honour to have you here today, and I truly mean that. For those who have never met Angela Wright before, she is instrumental in outdoor recreation, and I'm getting tear in my eyes. I'm just seriously, I got goosebumps, and I don't know what's just overcome me. I just feel so honoured that you're here. She has just recently received an Order of Australian Medal, so a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Unbelievable. But it's not all about that, is it? It's about your whole life and your whole journey.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to talk about today. A huge congratulations for your OAM.
Much.
Was that
Thank
a
you.
surprise to you to receive that recognition?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It had never even occurred that something like that would happen. Yeah, in a million years, it never even occurred. Yeah.
So how did you find out about it? Was it
about 3 months ago, they send you what the person that has nominated you has written, and you have to verify that, and that's where you kind of go, oh, okay.
Oh wow! And what did they write?
Happening. It was quite brief actually, but they do write a little bit about what you've done, and I've done quite a lot of voluntary work, and so that was sort of mentioned. But I don't know who put the nomination in.
Yep.
But it's someone I must know well, because they knew a lot of people that most people wouldn't know that I know. So.
Oh, how wonderful. Wow, you must have just felt so humble at the time.
Very, very humble, very humble. And I just thought, well, I know about, 100 more outdoor wreckers that should have one of these. So I guess that's my job for the next, 10 years, is making sure that...
Oh, you're going to step up and model
and
the
nominate
way.
other people.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's like,
pay it
I can't
forward.
be the only one.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? And you brought with you a wonderful folder here. I'd love you to share
did.
with that. So I just gobsmacked at the amount of people who have reached out and congratulated you. It's just fantastic.
Yes. The notification comes by email, but the governor then sends you a letter, and the premier, which was lovely, and then your local member, who hand wrote a beautiful card, which was very special.
She's
I know,
beautiful.
Di Farmer is lovely, and she comes from the Sport and Rec background, so she was a policy advisor in Sport and Rec Queensland
There you go.
for a while. So that's where I got to meet her first before she went into politics. But she's a very good politician.
She's a humble person as well.
Very humble. Yeah.
And I see you've got a few recognitions there, and
Yep.
you've got the most beautiful card from your mum and dad. And I
Yes.
just that's probably what's tearing me up more than anything. Is having your mum and dad. Would you like to read that out
Yeah,
to
sure.
people who are listening and people who are watching this? It's the most beautiful card.
It says, to an amazing, wonderful, smart, talented, altogether fantastic person, what a privilege to be honoured by your peers with an official award, an OAM no less. You wanted to make a difference, and this medal says you have. Well done. Love always, from the not so humble mum and dad.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, how magic.
Yeah.
Absolute magic. And they're quite right. You've made a difference in so many people's lives, and that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Which is really great.
Sure. I'll just pop that down.
Yeah. And that folder, for those who can see that folder is absolutely jam-packed with a huge amount of letters and accolades. And recognition for what you've done, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So huge congratulations.
Yeah.
I can't wait to you receiving that medal and sending us all a photo of you holding that beautiful
Medal.
OAM.
Yeah, with Jeanette Young, which will be the
fantastic.
governor. I'm a great fan of hers. She's a
Yes,
wonderful woman
absolutely.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So where did your love of adventure start?
I very young, actually. I grew up, spent a lot of time in my childhood on a farm, and so I was probably riding horses from a very young age, young age. And so we were given a lot of freedom on that farm. The farm was called Kelvin Falls.
Lovely.
And that's an O'Day family farm.
Right.
It's still, my cousins are still there. And that's where we were basically free-range kids every school holidays for my whole life.
Yep, you got those horses and you got the outback really, haven't you? You can just go anywhere.
Swimming holes. Just we used to help my grandfather with the sheep, moving sheep around the paddocks, moving cattle around the paddocks, that sort of thing.
Whereabouts was it based? Is it Queensland or
Yes,
somewhere?
it's a property that's it's in a place called Elbow Valley, which is in between. It's in a valley in between Killarney, Stanthorpe, and Warwick.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of tucked in there.
Beautiful country.
Yeah, granite belt country.
Yeah, granite belt, just
proper
superb.
granite belt.
I love that country.
Yeah. So, and from there, by the time I did year 8, 9, 10 and 11 in a little place called Ayr in North Queensland.
Yes.
And the defining moment for me, and I can actually remember having this conversation with my father, was that I went to a year 11 school camp, and that was my aha moment. That was... I want to do this for the rest of my life, whatever that is. Whatever that is, that's what I actually want to do. Yeah. So the school camp, an outdoor ed school camp somewhere along the Burdekin River was for me that aha moment.
That aha moment, this is what I want to do the rest of my life.
Yeah. And so at that stage you couldn't do a qualification in Queensland. I think the next year, on year 12, was the first year of the community recreation course at North Brisbane CAE.
Yes.
And then we moved back to Brisbane and there it was. So I was the second year intake, and as soon as I saw, everything on that was just like,
everything was epic.
Everything
so
was
back
there.
in those days, it was rock climbing, it was bushwalking, it was a whole range, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was everything. I got my speedboat licence.
How fantastic.
I got a heavy vehicle licence so I could drive buses around. The whole thing. It was the best 2 years of my life.
And some phenomenal course conveners there.
Yes.
And lecturers back in the day, weren't there?
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Ian Patterson, Jerry Sutton.
Absolute legends.
Ray Hibbins.
Ray Hibbins, exactly. Then Norm McIntyre came in. Terry Brown, etc., etc. Yeah, it was a great cohort.
So, that was back in the day.
Back in the day. And that graduated to being the GDOE and also Masters of Outdoor Education. Which, of course, I'm very familiar with. And that's where I came in years later.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
So that's where it all started.
So you're a beautiful climber, you're fantastic, an avid bushwalker and kayaker and canoeer and everything. Tell us more about your experience out in the wild.
Yeah, sure. So the horse riding stayed with me for a long time, and I did do a lot of climbing in my younger days. So that started at college, and that was abseiling and rock climbing.
Great.
And I worked in a little organisation with people with disabilities, and a lovely lady called Angela Wright OAM, and we were taking out people with disabilities out into the bush and doing climbing with them. So we did a lot of climbing, ropes courses, that sort of stuff. So we did that for quite a while. I stopped the climbing but started kayaking because I met my husband, my now ex-husband, on the water. So he's a boat builder, sailor.
Right.
And that's where I learnt my love of kayaking, and I still kayak to this very day.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my passion is kayaking. Yeah.
So he wasn't a climber. You hung up your harness and your ropes and
correct. Yeah.
Put a paddle in your hand instead.
Yeah. And really, for me, it's a lifelong. I'll be doing it as long as I can.
Yeah. You said you spent many years and you've been recognised for your volunteering. So would you like to unpack that a bit more and tell us what you've done? Because you've done some extraordinary things.
Yeah. Gosh. I've kind of volunteered my whole life. I've either been on local sports club committees. I've been. Graham, my partner, and I have done a lot of work in Sri Lanka.
Oh, beautiful country.
Helping design playgrounds in a place called Mannar for an organisation called Bridging Lanka.
Wow. How long have you been doing that for?
Well, I've known Jeremy since 1990, and he runs Bridging Lanka. Yeah. So the work with him has probably gone on for about 10 years.
Wow. Yeah.
I've only done one trip to Sri Lanka, but my partner Graham has done 3 where he's
Yep.
done building projects.
And is it about adventure play and playgrounds, or is
yes,
it about more?
Yeah, the main project we did was designed. So we found a number of landscape architects in Brisbane who gave us their time for free to design a sensory playground for an area called Sandipuram, and it's been built.
Fantastic.
By the community, and it's fabulous. It is fabulous. Yeah. What didn't quite end up like we designed,
the big plan.
but when the community has
achieved.
to build it themselves, it was the inspiration, and
absolutely.
we gave them a lot of support. Yeah. We raised a lot of money for it. We probably raised 30,000 or 40,000.
Wow, that's great.
So the Sri Lanka stuff. We don't necessarily volunteer much, but we raise funds for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you do a lot in that space too, don't you, in Queensland as well?
Yes.
Involved in the numerous programs.
Yeah, so Nature
projects.
Play Queensland got me involved back in 2014 when it first started. They were getting a lot of inquiries about early education centres and schools that wanted to create nature play spaces.
Yes.
And I, at the time, was working with a group of landscape architects, and Hayano said to me, how about we give this a go? And so from 2014 to 2019, we ran a little consultancy called Nature Play Spaces.
Yep.
It was voluntary, so I would run out after work or whenever I could to do the visits. By the time I don't think we call it retire, but in 2017 I finished work with Redmond City Council, and so then I worked nearly full time on Nature Play Spaces again as a volunteer through to 2019, and I was doing about 100 centres a year.
Wow.
And it was the joy of my life. I
Yes.
loved being a volunteer. I loved not being paid.
Yep.
And
giving from your heart.
Yeah.
And all that experience you had.
But I just the freedom of not being paid. I'm really looking forward to that being there again. I just love that freedom.
What do you think it is? Freedom and also autonomy, isn't it? And not having anyone else manage you or micromanage you or have to pull you in for budgets. You just let things go, and your vision is as big as your vision can imagine.
Correct.
Isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
When you're not constrained by a budget, there's nothing you can't do.
Exactly.
And so, I just was able to pull together all sorts of colleagues who've given their time over many years.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to, I don't think I'm very far off from giving the old volunteer work, another go.
Yep.
There's lots of things that Outdoors Queensland, which is the organisation I now work for, needs to happen. They don't have any money to do these things, but
You've got the vision and the drive, and you can attract the people.
I really, really, really want to do some stuff with them. Don't pay me, Dom. Just
exactly.
Just let me have a
let
crack.
Let me free.
Yeah. So it's amazing what you can achieve.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be sitting around at home. So
I can't imagine that somehow.
No. So look, the voluntary work is something that I think everyone should consider if they've got the time and the energy. Because it's everyone wins, and it's very liberating, which I found. Yeah.
And we all have the time and the energy. It's funny. If we think we have a limiting belief that we don't have time, we always do. We can sleep less. We can sit less on the couch. We can have quicker meals. We can have more quality family time, and then have self-care time and voluntary time, which gives you more energy to give quality time. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? And not everything. A society that's led by you must have a monetary gain to contribute is such a falsity. So, and as you're talking about now, you get such enormous benefits from volunteering and for doing things because you have freedom, you have autonomy, you attract like-minded people. Values are aligned, vision is aligned, and you can move the earth, can't you? Really, it's just quite incredible what you can do.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's also I have a son called Tom, and I think he's seen me doing voluntary work over his whole life. Yep. And I think one of the things that has rubbed off on him is that he's actually a really generous person, and he gives his time to other people in enormous quantities. He's stepped up to manage his soccer team and his futsal team. He's always stepping up, which I never thought that he would, because kids.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that if you're leading the way, that you can teach your children the value of giving.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud to say that my son is one of those people. I don't know, what he'll do with it in the future, but at the moment he's a very generous soul.
You're rubbed off.
Yeah.
You're rubbed off. But imagine how many others you've also influenced too along the way, because there's no way you can do huge projects, 100 projects, without having other supports. And those supports were also volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the odd thing as to why I would get an OAM. It's just like, for me, everything I ever did was
a team.
Was as part of a team, and as a public servant for a long time, it's never about you, ever.
Yes.
And that was the way I liked it.
You don't mind shining in the spotlight for a moment, though, surely.
I was. Yeah.
It's not you. You are humble, aren't you?
It's not me. I prefer just to be in the background and, do the work that I love. And
that's why this recognition is even more special.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I never...
Because you've been seen by others.
Yeah. Well, temporarily.
I know, it's something you take to your grave, definitely.
Fair enough.
It's the elite few who get an OAM, so it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell me, what does outdoor recreation and adventure give to you in your heart, or is it your spiritual purpose? What is it that? Why is it outdoor recreation?
Look, for me, it's being on the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solitude thing. I don't normally like paddling with other people, but I will.
Yep.
To me, it's a real solitude thing. It's like mindfulness. It's like meditation. It's a place to go to. It's that quietness of being, and. Yeah, it's also about being moving without pain, because I don't have pain in my shoulders and my arms. Like everywhere else I have pain, whereas in a kayak you can be powerful.
Move. Yes.
And for me, painless
and graceful.
Yep. And you can be at one with nature. But I've done a lot of paddling up around the Noosa.
Beautiful.
The lakes in the Noosa area, Catharabah, and all up through there.
It's so beautiful up there.
And the Everglades, and you're just sitting on the water where, if you're still, you disappear basically.
Yeah, you're melting into the river. You become one, don't you?
Yeah. I like flat water. I'm not really confident in the ocean.
Yep.
But put me on a river or a lake and
you're at home.
I'm at home.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's all of those things, and to me, to be active for your whole life is and outdoor recreation gives you that. It gives you the capacity to be outdoors and enjoying yourself.
Yep.
For your whole life.
Exactly. Yeah. For your whole life, exactly.
For
like as you said, you started as a child.
Life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it has been your whole life.
Yeah.
And it will continue to be.
Yeah. And like at Outdoors Queensland now, we're running programs for seniors.
The Great Getaway program is a phenomenal program. Yeah, it's really great.
And about to start some stuff for families. And it's literally, you learn some skills now, you should be still paddling when you're 80.
Exactly. And you don't need to rely on a club or someone else to take you out. You can do it on your own. And it's the beautiful thing too, it has no money barrier.
Yep.
You can always go out in the bush and sit by the river and it's all for free. The nature is an incredible resource and it's so healing. It's a healing space, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's all those things for me. And I guess it's been part of me for as long as I can remember. Like I was never not outdoors.
Yes.
Pretty much growing up at Kelvin Falls.
It's the most amazing upbringing, isn't it?
And I don't know, my parents never really knew where I was from a very young age, and even when we moved up to North Queensland, we were just outdoors.
Yeah, I laugh, and I'm only laughing because it's exactly the same upbringing I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved from the city to the country and we were never seen. We'd literally walk up the dirt road, from the bus, up the dirt road, jump over the fence. Our horses would be waiting in the corner, no bridle, no saddle. We'd jump on their backs, throw the school bags over their necks, and they'll bolt to the house, get fed, saddle them up and go. And we were back after dark. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
in North Queensland
Back
we
for
had
dinner.
bikes, so we all had bikes, and so we would just travel
Yeah.
around, and our friends were all on cane farms,
Yeah.
and so we would just head out to the farm. But I can tell you now, my parents, I'm the eldest of 5 girls, and they never knew where I was.
No, exactly. It's the best upbringing, isn't it? And we can still do this with our city kids, and we can still do this if you're living in suburbs. And I think
Yeah,
that's the
why
biggest,
not?
another thing and that's what I love about your outdoor spaces and play environments.
Yep.
Wherever you live, you can
Yep.
get outside.
Yep.
And we're
Yep.
so lucky here in Australia that nearly everywhere you're within walking distance of a parkland.
Yep.
And
Yep.
green space,
Yep.
and just go and enjoy those.
Connected by state-of-the-art footpaths, mostly.
Absolutely,
when
aren't
you
we lucky?
consider other places in the world,
Yeah.
like places like Sri Lanka, we think our footpaths
Oh.
are bad. Footpaths are bad, but they're there.
They haven't got potholes.
and they connect you
Yep.
to
And cars aren't
parks.
driving on them, that's
No,
another bonus.
That's right, and things aren't parked on them.
Yep.
And they take you to your parkland or to your bushland that's
Exactly.
nearby. Yeah.
And you can, it's amazing, once you start asking and reaching out, you can also find a huge amount of resources. I know
Yep.
recently we designed a program for disadvantaged youth, and we went to the local tip and
Yep.
said, have you got any spare bikes? And they had about 100 bikes, would you believe,
What?
sitting there in their yard saying, yes, we've got no one, these are being thrown out, so we just collect them. So that's what we did. We donated all these wonderful bikes to these
Yep.
young people and
Yep.
gave them freedom.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Bikes are freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it
Bikes,
helps kids.
our feet are walking, our
Yep.
wheelchairs,
Yep.
whatever
Whatever
mobility
it
we
is.
have,
Yep.
we
Yeah.
have access to these spaces.
Yeah.
It's about taking that action and getting out
Yeah.
there.
And I think,
feeling it. Because once you feel it, you're addicted.
And can I tell you, in my neighbourhood after COVID, when everyone was locked down for those. I mean, I know we
Yes.
didn't do what Victoria and New South
Oh,
Wales
yes.
did, but the
Yeah.
amount of time that our families were locked down, they connected with the outdoors. It was just
Yes.
blindingly
Yeah.
evident that the outdoors was free.
Mm-hmm.
Kids learnt to ride bikes that had never ride bikes, and they're still out there. So my neighbourhood is full of kids who learnt to ride, and their parents went, yeah, you can ride, off you go.
Yep, and they're
still out
exploring
there.
the parkways, they're exploring the
Yeah.
waterways. and
They're now
the
walking to
bay.
school a lot more. So I've seen
Yep.
huge numbers of parents now walking their kids to school, which wasn't there before. So I think that's a little bit of
It's a real awakening, wasn't it, the
where
COVID?
it was awakening. Yeah.
And the mental health, and also what nature does, and
Yeah.
we can breathe in the fresh air and we can enjoy the open spaces, and it's great for our health and well-being.
Yeah.
And here we are, we try to remove ourselves as human beings and think we're better and greater than nature, but in fact we're part of nature.
We
and
are.
we need the green spaces, we need the openness and the freedom
Yeah.
to go and explore and to
Yeah.
sit and be quiet in
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
And I love the fact you mentioned earlier solitude. So
Yeah.
many people don't take advantage of solitude. They're
Yeah.
so busy on the treadmill, and I'm a great believer in solitude as well. And
Yeah.
I get my most epiphany moments have been when I've been on solos and in nature. Always those two things combined, and I can't express that. So yeah, tell us a bit more about your solo journeys, because I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's been mostly on Catharaba and up through the Everglades.
Oh, yes,
Because
magic.
when you have, so I had a little cottage there.
Yeah.
And when you have that in your backyard,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't get much better than that.
No, that's right.
Particularly Everglades, and so most of my trips were either across
Lake
the
Catharaba,
lake over
yeah.
to Tiwa or up through to the Everglades.
Oh,
yeah,
look,
yeah. Or even up the other way. So there's more up through the lake system up to Noosa.
Yeah.
It's always a
Oh,
good
for
paddle.
those who are listening in, if you haven't been up to Noosa and up through Lake
Yeah, do
Catharaba
it.
and Noosa River and Lake Tiwa
Yep.
River, oh my gosh.
Yep. Yeah.
It's wilderness and just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
well set up for camping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got everything.
And walks and snow.
Walks and
sand
bike
dunes
riding.
and,
Yeah. No, it's magical. So,
Yeah.
so that was even right back in the early days, that's where most of my paddling, because my his parents had a house up there.
Magic.
And so that's where we did
Of
all our
course.
paddling.
And the sense of place would be there very
Yeah, it
strongly
is.
by
That's
the sounds.
correct. Yeah.
Something we don't talk about very often, a sense of place, and we do have it, don't we?
Yeah.
And in multiple places.
Yeah, no,
but
that's
feeling
right.
at one with the nature and having a bond with that land,
Yeah,
we can
and
fully
it-
understand Indigenous
And it is,
culture.
and when you do experience a place, and like it does it calls you.
It does,
Yeah. I'm sure there's thousands of other beautiful places to paddle.
Yeah.
But that's the place where I do feel
You
like
find your nurturing soul there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The birds and just because I've been going there now, well, since college, which was the late 70s. So
Yeah.
it's another part of me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've had an amazing life and you've got many more years to go. But there's a lot of listeners out there who are going to be going, oh, I don't know, I just feel like I'm melting in my chair. How about you guys at the back there? You just melt when you're listening to you. It's like, oh, I just feel like I am on a river and I am gliding through the Everglades with the sun on me and we're just gracefully gliding. It's just absolutely
Well,
superb.
I'm mentally there, so...
Yeah, exactly. Same here. So there's a lot of course, our Wild and Fearless podcasts are all about sharing our beautiful journeys and our experiences, and it's key messages for those who are listening or watching the program at the moment. What are some key messages you'd like to share today with our viewers who can be young girls, women of all ages, men and women, of course, and people who identify as non-binary? So what messages would you have for them?
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about this before I came, and there's a couple of very stark lessons that I learnt along the way. One, the first major one that I really remember was learning to listen. Mm-hmm. I thought I knew everything when I was young, and I had a very close friend of mine, her name's Marg Miller, and she taught, you know Marg?
I know Marg, she's beautiful.
Yeah, she taught me how to listen, and I was only remembering this in the last few months, it's a really important skill, and it's something that if you don't have it, you can learn it, like I did. Mm-hmm. I was just like blab, 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 and now I do a lot more listening. So that for me was a really, really big one.
Yeah, beautiful.
Partway through, my more recent life, I realised that I didn't have a belief in myself that I thought that I had. A lot of things were escaping through the door, and I'm going, why didn't I just stand? Why didn't I grab it or stand up and say no, that's not right, or say
believe in yourself.
Yeah, that's right. So believing myself, something that's taken me quite a long time, much longer than I probably thought it should.
And that would be amazing for all the viewers who hear you say that, and here's a woman who's been adventurous and being wild and fearless since a young child, to not believe in yourself until only recent years is outstanding.
I know.
It's astonishing. Yeah.
I think in my work life I was fairly confident and capable, but it hadn't translated to my private life. Yeah. And so I was still in that place where I wasn't the confident woman that I thought that I should have been. Yeah. I was still quite insecure.
Still become your whole self.
Yeah, so I think what's happened is I've allowed that, that strong confidence that I, often demonstrate in the workplace to carry into my private life, and I feel like now if I want to do something, or I believe in something, or I know I'm right, I kind of go, Angela.
So you'll step into that and voice it and
believe in yourself. And so it's probably in the last 3 or 4 years that's really become strong. I think in the last few years, Graham and I have done a lot of overseas travel, and I think when you're on foot, in Southeast Asia or in America, or where we've travelled mostly, you do have to believe in yourself. You have to be confident. You have to make clear decisions, and I think that helped as well. And that was, they were all outdoors trips.
Absolutely, and obviously you've got a partner who enables you to do that too. Yes. You haven't got a partner who's leading the way and holding your hand and suppressing you, not meaning to, but is leading you.
No. That's never been the case. But I wasn't a great traveller until I met him. Yeah. I think a lot of confidence in myself has come also through that travel as well.
Travel is a great learner and opportunity, isn't it, to step into your own and learn who you are and build confidence.
And Graham loved to travel with no planning and very little,
Just get up and go.
Get up and go. There's a little backpack and off we go. And so we did that for 3 months through Southeast Asia, and by the end of that, it was just like, we can conquer
We can
the
do
world.
anything.
We can do anything.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you talk about, I love you talking about that, because it's a really sad point that so many people do live their life and never truly believe in themselves. And it happens to, I would say, millions of people. What would you suggest would be one small step into finding your way and your purpose and yourself?
and to believe in yourself.
Yeah. Become you, really, to be you.
It's I guess it's being present and going, practicing.
Yes, yeah.
But I my whole life I've had little mantras that I've said to myself. I've always been very intuitive and present in the moment. I've never had an issue with that, but it's a little bit about just saying to yourself, it's okay.
Yes.
Believe in yourself. So instead of your head exploding because something's happening and
you're being drawn out here and
you go, no. It's like go into yourself and just say, you're right. You should do this, or take that step. Trust in yourself, and have a go.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
But I've used mantras a lot to get over when your brain is just hammering away
and
at
almost
you.
fighting against you.
Fighting
exactly. Trying to keep you
against
safe,
you.
by the way. Everyone has it. The universal fears are well known. You're always going to have your ego saying, stay safe, and by staying safe, I'm going to tell you that you can't do it.
Yep.
Because that keeps you safe, right? It stops
Correct.
you from giving something a go.
Yep.
Whereas you've got the other ego, which is ultra ego, which is saying, you can do this, no flies on you, you've got this, where it's completely wrong. There's definitely a middle ground, and that is the centre point where you're talking about of being fully present and going, forget all that noise. There's going to be noise in your head. Everyone has it. I can't remember how many egos there are. There's more than 12, but they've identified 12.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. 12 is enough little voices in your head, right? So those who are sitting home going, oh my God, I thought I was the only one with 12 voices in my head. Guess what? You're not.
No.
It's human psychological, it's human psyche.
Yeah.
It is about, isn't it, becoming centred and going, okay, balance all that out, remove the noise. This is who I am. This is who my core purpose and my true authentic self believes and wants to do. And that's where it is absolute trust and belief in yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to write them down. I used to make specific ones up and I'd write them down so I had them, with me at all times. So when I felt myself just,
slipping,
the other 11 voices,
exactly.
I would just look at it, be on my desk or something like that, and I would just go, okay, you're back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you can do this.
It's interesting you're talking about paddling, because I often think about it as being going down a river, and your present self is the one that actually goes down the tongue of a rapid and can shoot out the other end beautifully and gracefully. Then you've got the other ego that's going to send you into a wall and under the willows and have you entrapped, which is, the ego that says you're too good. And the other one's taking down a D-grade rapid, which is well beyond your coping skills and your ability. So it's about keeping in that tongue and keeping down the right path and just staying in that middle and knowing trajectory where you're going, having a very clear vision, but also making sure you're not delving into too much danger, but you're also not limiting yourself and remaining on the shores, watching someone else live your life.
Yeah. And listening to others.
And listening to others, which is another point I did not want to let you go without going down here. The other day when we had a chat about this whole podcast, I love what you're talking about how you love mentoring other young women in the workplace and people around you, and how often young women, they're so full of their own confidence that they don't listen, and how important it is for older women, on the other hand, on the flip side, for older women with experience, or not even older women, people with experience, to actually give up and share and spend time sharing that information. And there's that beautiful balance, isn't there? Ones who can perhaps open up and listen. If you're listening today and you go, I actually don't open up and listen enough, there's a beautiful opportunity. And there's also the opportunity for those who want to share their knowledge.
Yes.
Because both are a beautiful gift.
Yes.
Giving and receiving, it takes both sides.
Yes, I would encourage people that would like to do that to give it a go. For me, it's been very, very rewarding. It's most often been around when the people that I'm working with are having career issues, or I helped a number of young women who were being bullied at work. Yep. So those instances, it's about being present to that and really helping them. But the greatest satisfaction is being able to mentor people into a career or into a career path that they may not have thought about. And
it fits beautifully with their values and their strengths.
One of the fun things I love doing is helping them with references, and so giving references is one thing I love doing.
Oh, same. And helping them on their pathway. It's lending that hand, and it may only be a small hand for a small, tiny part of their life.
Yes, that's right.
But it can be a giant leap.
Yeah. And I've even up until more recently, I've had challenges in in my workplace.
As life
does.
Exactly.
And it has been other women that have stepped in and helped me just, refocus, realise what my sphere of influence is, what I can and can't influence.
Yes.
What is it my business to worry about and, not worry about.
Exactly.
Not
getting caught up in the drama triangle.
Yeah, it's correct.
Exactly.
Playing in my own sandpit.
Yes, playing in your own sandpit. Yeah.
You've got a big enough sandpit, Angela. Just, stay in your sandpit.
I love it.
So, without the help of a couple
Other
of
women.
Beautiful women in the last couple of years, that's just absolutely tremendously helped me.
And you have listened. You've been there and welcoming their contribution.
Yeah.
It's really great.
To me, listening, it just gives you an open mind. It gives you this beautiful open mind that allows you to hear all manner of things and then go, that sounds like a good idea. I'll give that a try. Or
exactly.
That's.
And I love what you're talking about, because you're talking about listening to others, and they could be younger women, could be older women, could be male. It doesn't matter who it is. It's listening, having the opportunity to go, I'm going to open my mind and heart to that.
Yep.
But it's also, you've been talking about listening to yourself and believing in yourself. So there's two areas, isn't there, that you're really focusing on here, which is absolutely magic.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it. Well, what a wonderful afternoon we've had here. It's raining. For those who can see the podcast, we've got the most amazing day out here in Brisbane.
We do.
And for those who can see out behind us, we're actually living on top of my rooftop. And it's pretty magic with a lovely pool out there and rain hitting the windows. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here today. Angela, I could actually talk with you for hours. We could be here till the lights go turned off, and we could still be here, and we could crack open the bottles of wine and have a great time.
Yeah, we've barely started.
We have barely started. And I would love to know if the viewers would love to hear more from you. Please, sign in, subscribe, say we want to hear more about Angela Wright. Where's she up to now? We'd love to hear more about your overseas travels and your adventures and your charities and more volunteering. There's so much more we could discuss.
Yeah, no worries at all.
But how do people reach out to you? Can people reach out to you and if they say, look, I'd love to get in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. I'm at Outdoors Queensland for the next little while, and I'll either be there as a paid person, but probably I'll be a volunteer there
exactly,
for the next little while. So they can find me through Outdoors Queensland mostly. Yeah.
Which is also, for those who don't know, it's a phenomenal peak association for Queensland and promoting outdoor recreation across the state. It's absolutely wonderful. And also linking very much in with national peak bodies as well, and government and advocacy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, at a national level.
And some phenomenal projects always.
Well, three new programs in the last couple of years. So, it's very exciting. Yeah. So that's where you'll find me.
Oh, fantastic. Angela, it's been an absolute... just a pleasure having you here, and congratulations once again on your OAM. I can see,
thank you.
Well, everyone who knows you knows why you're worthy of receiving that recognition. And I'm sure now the podcast, as you've got some more raving fans, will be following your way. And I imagine there'll be a lot of people highly appreciative, wouldn't you think, guys, on the wisdom that you've imparted today. It's been tremendous.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, legend. Hi, legends. I hope you really enjoyed today's podcast, just like we enjoyed bringing it to you. It takes a momentous team behind the scenes to actually get this done, and we'd love to hear your reviews and your comments, and also your shout outs to our wonderful interviewees. Subscribe and share and like what we do, and that gives all of us encouragement to keep on doing what we're doing. I want you to get out there, be wild and fearless yourself, get out to adventure, get into nature and be your best version of you. Okay, take care.